Libraries have always had an air of mystery about them, a quiet reverence that borders on the sacred. But there are some libraries where the silence is more than just a lack of noise. It's a warning. The one where our story takes place was such a library. Tucked away in an old, forgotten part of town, this library was ancient even by the town's standards. Amelia and Joseph were the librarians who tended to the place. Amelia, with her raven black hair and sharp eyes, was a woman of few words but immense curiosity. Joseph, on the other hand, was older, his hair a salt and pepper mix, with a cautious demeanor that belied his years of experience in dealing with old tomes and fragile manuscripts. The library itself was a labyrinth of narrow aisles and towering shelves, the kind that seemed to close in on you as you walked deeper into its heart. Dust motes floated lazily in the air, disturbed only by the occasional turning of a page or the quiet hum of the old fluorescent lights. One stormy evening, as the wind howled outside and rain battered against the windows, Amelia stumbled upon something peculiar. She was in the basement, rummaging through old records and forgotten books, when she noticed a door she had never seen before. It was hidden behind a particularly large and heavy bookshelf. "Joseph, come here," she called, her voice echoing in the empty halls. Joseph arrived, his brow furrowed. "What is it, Amelia?" "Look at this," she said, pointing to the hidden door. They pushed the bookshelf aside with some effort, revealing an ornate wooden door, its surface carved with intricate symbols that neither of them recognized. "Should we open it?" Amelia asked, her hand hovering over the doorknob. Joseph hesitated, a feeling of unease settling in his stomach. "I don't know. It doesn't feel right." But curiosity got the better of them. With a deep breath, Amelia turned the knob. The door creaked open, revealing a dark, narrow staircase leading down into what seemed like the bowels of the library. They exchanged a glance before stepping into the darkness. The air grew colder with each step, and the smell of mold and decay became stronger. At the bottom of the stairs, they found themselves in a large circular room. The walls were lined with shelves, but unlike the rest of the library, these shelves held books that looked ancient, their spines cracked and titles faded. "This place, it doesn't feel right," Joseph muttered, rubbing his arms to ward off the chill. Amelia nodded, but she was already reaching for one of the books. As her fingers brushed the cover, she felt a jolt, like a static shock, but more intense. She yanked her hand back, but it was too late. The book fell from the shelf, landing with a thud that echoed ominously in the small space. "We should go," Joseph urged. But Amelia shook her head. "We have to know what these are," she said, picking up the fallen book. She opened it, revealing pages filled with strange, spidery writing and unsettling illustrations. As she read aloud from the book, the temperature in the room plummeted further, and the shadows seemed to deepen. The words were in a language she didn't understand, yet, as she spoke them, a sense of dread washed over her. Suddenly, the lights flickered and went out, plunging them into darkness. Amelia's voice faltered, and the book slipped from her hands. A low guttural growl echoed through the room, and they could feel a presence, something ancient and malevolent, stirring in the darkness. "Run!" Joseph shouted, grabbing Amelia's hand and pulling her towards the stairs. They stumbled up the steps, the sound of their own panicked breathing loud in their ears. They burst into the main library, slamming the door shut behind them. The old wooden door shuddered but held. They leaned against it, gasping for breath. "What was that?" Amelia panted. "I don't know," Joseph replied, his voice shaking. "But we need to leave, now." As they hurried out of the library, they noticed that the once familiar and comforting space now felt hostile. The shadows seemed to follow them, and the books on the shelves whispered as they passed. That night, both Amelia and Joseph were plagued by nightmares. In their dreams, they saw the library as it had been in its prime, filled with people who seemed unaware of the darkness lurking below. They saw themselves, older and worn, still searching for answers in the cursed books. Over the following days, the nightmares grew worse. They both started seeing things out of the corner of their eyes, dark figures that vanished when they turned to look. They heard whispers in the quietest moments, words they couldn't understand but filled them with dread. Desperate, they decided to return to the hidden room, hoping to find a way to undo whatever they had unleashed. Armed with flashlights and a sense of determination, they descended the stairs once more. The room was as they had left it, the cursed books waiting. They searched the shelves, looking for anything that might help. Joseph found a book that seemed different from the others. Its cover was pristine, and it radiated a faint, comforting warmth. "Maybe this can help," he said, opening the book. Inside, they found what looked like instructions, written in the same strange language, but with illustrations that seemed to show a ritual of some sort. As they followed the steps, a sense of hope began to grow. But as Amelia spoke the final words, the room shook violently, and a piercing scream filled the air. The book in Joseph's hands burst into flames, and the warmth turned into searing heat. They tried to run, but the shadows had come to life, wrapping around them like tendrils. The walls of the room seemed to close in, and the air grew thick with the smell of burning paper and something far more sinister. Amelia and Joseph fought against the darkness, but it was no use. As the shadows engulfed them, they felt a cold, clammy hand grip their hearts. The last thing they saw was the cursed books, their pages fluttering as if in a silent, mocking laugh. The library stands to this day, abandoned and decaying. Those who venture too close on stormy nights claim to hear whispers and see figures moving in the windows. And if you listen closely, you might hear the faint echo of a scream, a reminder of the two souls lost to the cursed pages. Some say the library is a portal to another realm, a place where the nightmares born from the cursed books still roam. Others believe it's a prison, holding something far worse. But one thing is certain, the library holds its secrets close, and those who seek to uncover them do so at their own peril. So if you ever find yourself in an old, forgotten library, and you happen upon a hidden door, think twice before you open it, for some stories are better left unread, and some doors should remain forever closed.